So we're now going to head into loops. And we got a brand new application to write for that one. It'll be a very tiny one. It's this guy, and I think it's saying here, so I'm on page 162, and it basically it's saying create a new project. Yeah, number 2 basically says to go off of figure 512, which is what this one is. All right, so we're going to create a new project. So it's been a while since we did a new project. So we're going to go new. Remember, you got a lot of stuff that shows up, so you might want to kind of pare it down to C# and Windows. You are looking for the, actually it even tells you it's right here, Windows Form App.net. So Windows Form App.net. Well, I'll tell you, I'm just going to type it then. How about that? Form.net right there. Okay. So we're going to do that. And this guy is going to be called future value. Depending on when you took Python with me, you'll appreciate the fact that we're dealing with financial math that used to just drive them crazy. But anyway, and I think it's going to go. Actually, where's it going to go? Oh no, it's not going to go. Well, I tell you what, I could leave it there, but you know, I don't want to do that. I'm going to go instead. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to just put it in here. Okay, just in case you need it again. All right, I'm going to go create. All right, so we got ourselves a new form. We haven't had an experience like this in quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically make it look like this. I'm going to move this off to the side. And to be honest, I'm probably going to do most of this off camera and then talk about it. I don't know, you know what, whatever. It's good. It's good review. All right, so here we go. We got the form. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change the name of the form to future value before you even get going. So we're going to click on the form. I'm going to go, and there's the text. The text is going to be called future value and I'm also looking for the name of the thing. There's our name. I'm going to call that thing also future value. No spaces for that. Oh my goodness. Well, that didn't work. Value. Good. All right. So I got that going. I need 4 text. Well, I wonder when that came up. Anyway, 4 text spots. So let's go all. These are controls, right? Common controls. So I want to have 4 of these things. So I'm just going to go grab 4. So there's text box 1, text box 2, text box 3, text box 4. Great. Can have 4 labels. Label 1, label 2, label 3, and label 4. All right, I'm going to have 2 buttons. Where are my buttons? Like, come on, alphabetical, dude. There's button 1, whatever, and here's button 2. Oh, that's nice. That's totally not what I wanted right there. There's button 2. Button 1, button 2. There we go. All right. So what's going on now is I'm looking up at my second screen at that, right? So let's make a couple of changes. I think what I'm going to do probably is I'm going to change my labels to be the labels that are on this application. That way it'll help me when I'm trying to deal with the properties of my text boxes. So here's the label. I don't care about the in this case the name of the thing, but what I do care about the text. So there's my text. This is going to be called monthly investment. Yeah, monthly investment. Good deal. Then I'm going to go, and the next guy is the yearly interest rate. The next guy is the number of years. And the next guy is the future value. Okay, awesome. So now I got that done, and you'll forgive me if I don't bother trying to align these things quite yet. So now up here, I've got myself a nice little text box. I would prefer it not to be called text box 1, which is what it's currently called. I'm going to call this thing text monthly investment. No. The nice thing is that because we don't actually have to type these anymore, you can call these things whatever you want, really. I used to be a big fan of the whole abbreviation, but anyway, yearly interest rate. Okay, and then this guy is going to be called number of years, text number of years. And then this guy is going to be called text future value. What, same thing with that. Okay. We know from up here that the future value is a display, or at least a read-only false. So while I'm on that one, I'm going to go looking for that read-only guy, read-only right there, and I'm going to change that to true. It is in fact a read-only field. Awesome. Okay, so that's set for that. Next thing I would like to do, I guess I'll just look at you buttons. The buttons. So we're going to deal with the name of the buttons first. So name. There's my name. So button is going to be BTN calculate, and then this one will be called BTN exit. And then back over to here. So now that I know I'm on the calculate button, it'd be nice if the text said that. So there's my text. Calculate, which is going to have a little ampersand in front of the C, so we can get that thing underlined. Hopefully that one works. And then over here with the exit, see it works there. That's nice. Exit will have E ampersand XIT. Awesome. Whew, done. All right. It looks horrible, but that's fine. All right. Let's build it. Should be nothing, no syntax errors here because everything's fine. Good deal. Now what I want to do is I want to get it to the point that I can basically actually let's work on the exit button first, the actual exit button. So I double click on this. Remember, this one was a pretty dead easy thing to do. This dot close, not click, close. Here I'm talking about how easy it is. I'm getting the impression that that's not going to work. Let's just check it out. Okay, yay. So that button worked just fine. So now it's the calculate button. So, before I deal with the logic to this, I always like to make sure that my inputs and outputs are functioning so that then I can basically focus on the engine that's in the middle. So all I'm going to do here is I'm going to basically suck in this stuff and I'm going to pump out 0. That's probably what I'm going to do. All right. So let's go into calculate. And all these variables can be within the void function of calculate. All right, so what we need to do is we need to basically get the text from the text properties into actual variables. That's the first thing we need to do. So I'm going to create myself some variables, decimal. And I may as well, I now forgot what they are. It's monthly. One was monthly investment, which at this point, I'm just going to give 0M. Okay, I'm not even dealing right now with the input outputs at this point. I just want to get these variables on the page. So get that going. And then the other guy was yearly, right? I think yearly. So decimal, yearly interest rate, which is also going to be 0. We'll just say, yeah, 0M. Okay, so 0M. And then the last variable I would kind of want is the number of years. And it was kind of implying completed years, so we'll make them integers, but we could always imagine those being decimal too. But anyway, years will also be equal to 0. All right, good deal. So that's cool. Let's get these things thrown back out to future value. I have a variable out there called text future value. I want the, not a variable, an object. I want the text property of that thing to be assigned the, I need to have an actual calculation. Yeah, future value, excuse me. I need to actually have a decimal future value, which is also going to be assigned 0. Okay, and so I'm going to have this thing. It's going to, what it's going to do is it's going to spit out the future value dot to string, and I'm going to use it for currency. All right, so let's go ahead and go. And if I go calculate, that's working. And I have some variables which have got nothing going on. So let's go exit. Now let's get this thing to be a little bit more intelligent. This thing, instead of being 0M, it's going to basically pull stuff from the text monthly investment. Text monthly investment. We're going to use the convert here. The convert. Seriously, dude? Convert. Is it lowercase? No, it's not lowercase. No, dude. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Hold it. I know what I'm doing wrong. Going the other way. It's actually start here. Convert. I'd like you to convert to decimal. And what do I want you to convert to decimal? The TXT monthly investment thing. That's what I'd like you to convert to decimal. Not the object, but the actual property of text. All right, so we got that going. That's a nice variable. And then let's do the same thing here with the other dude. Let's go copy and paste, but we're not going to take the text monthly investment. We're going to go text yearly interest rate is what we're going to do there. And I see something bad happen with that. So text. Oh, is my insert on? Did I hit my insert with my fat fingers? I must have. There we go. Okay, good. So we're good there. And then the number of years is, so it's not a decimal, right? As a matter of fact, I tell you what, let's get an error. Let's just jump right to the error because it's probably going to freak out. All right, so there's that, and this is not going to be that. It's going to be the text number of years. All right, good deal. Now already it's mad at me, right? That line's not going away because it's basically saying you cannot implicitly convert a decimal to an integer. Right? You can't implicitly convert a decimal to an integer, or yeah, implicitly. It won't just happen on its own. We actually need something that's not 2 decimal. Now, there's actually some other choices besides 2 decimal. Let's just push this out for space. Let's go convert dot and see what our other choices are. And right there, it's probably picking up the fact that it's going to an integer. It's saying, why don't you use a 2int32? And I think, you know what? That's a really smart move. No wonder you are a big time IDE. So now I'm going to do that. And now you're mad at me. Nope, you're not mad at me anymore. All right, so that's good. We've got our stuff coming in. We don't really have a way to prove it yet, but we do have our stuff coming in. Let's build it. And it's building fine. And if we run it and basically just push calculate, you know, oh, it blew up. Well, so there you go. That's good reason. Oh, it blew up. It blew up because there was nothing. I didn't put any data in there. That's why it blew up. We'd want to fix that once we hit our exception handling section. But for now, I'm just going to go 0 tab 0 tab 0 tab. Oh, by the way, I should change that so that the tabs don't go there. And we're going to go calculate. And now we're fine. Okay, good deal. Whew, that was a little bit bizarre. By the way, let's fix that tab thing. It shouldn't go there for tabs. So I think right there, tab stop. We're setting that to false. All right. Wonderful. Okay, so back to here. So now what we're missing is the great calculation. That's what we're kind of missing here. We're missing sort of a calculation. So here to do it, we got the number of years. It's going to basically loop. So here's the somewhat unfair part of the requirements for you guys. It really doesn't tell you too much about how this application really should be working. But what's going to happen is it's going to figure out how many months are in the number of years that you put in. And it's going to loop through and apply the monthly interest for every month. So like if it's 1 year, it's going to go into a loop from 1 to 12 and apply monthly interest for every iteration of that loop. And that's your future value. Okay. So if it's $100 and you get 10% per month applied to $100, if you're only going to put it in for 1 month, then what would happen is it would go from, the loop would go once, it would figure out what 10% of 100 is, which is 10. And then the future value at that point would then be $110. If it was 2 months, it's going to go 10% times 100. So it's going to be 110. And then it's going to go through again, and it's going to go 10% of 110, which is 11. And then the future value at that point becomes 121. Way better ways to do this than a loop like this, but it's still not a bad demonstration of the loop. All right, so what we need to know then is we need to know what is the monthly interest. First of all, how many months are there, and what is the actual monthly interest rate? Because we've only got a yearly interest rate here. All right, so it's not rocket science to work out how many months, right? Months are going to be basically the integer of, it's going to be an integer guy. We're going to call it months, and it's going to be assigned the years divided by 12, right? So that's it. No, multiply. Remember, yeah. If you have an integer and you multiply it by another integer, you're going to have an integer. So there is this. All right. So that's how many months we're going to work with. Now, what is the monthly interest rate? We know we got the yearly interest rate. So the monthly interest rate is going to be decimal. And it's going to be a decimal called monthly interest rate. All right. And it's going to be assigned the yearly interest rate divided by 12. Now, think for a moment how this form is going to work. If the person puts in 10 for 10%, you do not want it to be 10, you want it to be 0.1, right? Percentages are basically divided by 100. Otherwise, you're giving like not a 10%, you're giving 1,000% interest, which we'd all love, but only certain people get that. So in this case, I'm going to divide that by not 1,000, but by 100. That becomes my actual monthly interest rate. All right. So we've got our future value defined at 0. We know how many months we're dealing with. We know what our interest rate is. So now the next thing to do is to go into a loop. So let's just do something really dead easy for this one, because this is the part that we're supposed to learn now, right? For, and the way loops go is you go, by the way, sorry, let me use my IntelliSense here, for, right? So I just hit the tab twice and boom. So it's going to go for I is equal to 0. I is length less than the length of how long you want to go, increment I. So this isn't going to be length. The length is going to be the months. So we're going to start off with 0 when we're less, we're in the C# world, by the way. So if you want to count from 1 to 10, you're actually counting from 0 to 9. That's how that works, right? So we start at 0 and we go through until we're less than 10, which would be 9. So in this case, if it's months and I got like 12 months to go, it's going to go from 0 through to 11, right? So that's how that works. And then it's going to increment. Now, at this point, you know what? Let's do something basic here. Let's take the future value and we're going to increment it by I. That's what we're going to do. We're going to increment it by I. That's totally not the right answer. Not right, but testing loop. But we're going to just see what happens when this finishes. So let's run it. Let's put in our monthly interest, whatever. So our monthly investment doesn't really matter, but what does matter, yearly interest rate doesn't really matter either for this experiment, but we are going to go 12. Actually, we're going to go, actually just do one. We'll just do one. We're going to go calculate. So basically 1, and then it got added to 2, so that's 3. Then it got added to 3, and that's 5. And so anyway, I bet you if you went basically 1 plus 2 plus 3, well, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3, all the way up to 0, all the way up to 11, you get the 66. Try that at home. It's a neat experiment. All right, so we know that definitely that loop is running. All right, good deal. All right, so now we just need to actually work out what the actual math is. So the future value, so it's going to be the monthly investment multiplied by the actual interest rate, right? That's what it's going to be. All right, so you know what? Here's the deal. It's going to take me a little bit to kind of think this through. So let me just pause the video and then put the code in and then explain the code. All right, so I basically went ahead and added that line right there. So rather than it just basically shooting out some crap, I basically have it doing this calculation. So the future value is assigned the future value plus the monthly investment multiplied by basically the interest rate. So if we were kind of going to substitute this, so for actual values, and let's imagine it's $100 and we're going through twice at 10%, what happens is that the future value starts off at 0. So it'd be 0 plus 100. So now that's going to be basically 100 multiplied by 1 times 1 plus the interest rate, which would be 1.1. So that first run through, you'd have 100 multiplied by 1.1, that would become 110, right? Then it rolls through again. Now the future value is 110. It gets added the monthly investment, which is $10. So now it becomes 120 multiplied by 1.1, that becomes 100 and whatever the heck that would be. All right, so that's kind of how that works. There are definitely, some really cool financial functions out there that could do this too. But anyway, that's a basic one. So if I run this thing, and the next question, which is 3, says put in value. So they basically got $100 is what they're saying you should put in. Let's assume that the interest rate is 12%, which you don't get now, but that's fine, 12%, because that basically becomes 1% per month. And then we're only going to do it for a year, and we go calculate, and that is the value that they're basically saying you should get. So that's